All right, everyone. I am doing a surprise live here on my YouTube channel. I didn't really plan to come on, so we'll see if anyone's able to join us today. Sorry about the little bit of time to set up. I'm not good at figuring out how to do that before I go live. I need to try to look into that a little bit more. Looks like we have a couple people joining us. So if you are here, please go ahead and leave a comment. I'd love to see that you guys are joining and reading all those comments. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb. There we go. Okay, we've got some friends joining. Let's check it out. There we go. Okay, so welcome to Creative Chelsea. Today I'd like to share with you another alternative project using the, what was it, April 2021 paper pumpkin kit called Here's to You. And what I like to do is use up all of the supplies in the kit. And I think my past paper pumpkin projects did a really good job of that. So if you haven't seen those yet, you can click up here in the top right corner if you're watching the replay, or if you're live, then just wait for the live video to be over and then it will be in the description as well. Or you can go to my playlists and do a search for the March 2021 paper pumpkin kit alternatives. So once all those other supplies are used up, I have a stamp set and some ink left over. And so what I like to do is to create a card using the stamp set, ink, and then cardstock, and maybe some embellishments from my craft room. And my paper pumpkin subscribers are lucky because they get a kit with the cardstock to make this card. And so let me just show you. I think I had an extra kit this month. So it comes in a cute envelope. Not really cute, it's just plain, but it's exciting. And what you get if you're a subscriber of mine is you'll get a little packet, and it tells you what month it is. It tells you the website to go to get the instructions, and then just a little thank you message from me. And then inside, if you're so this is if you are my subscriber. So if you have any questions about that, you can email me on how to be a subscriber of mine, or if you aren't a paper pumpkin subscriber, then I will help you make sure to select me as your demonstrator. So then inside you're going to get the ribbon and the embellishments to make for the card, and then all the pre-cut pieces that you need to make the card. And you'll notice that there's double because you can make this card twice. I give enough supplies to make it twice. I guess that makes sense, right? So we've got some cardstock, our envelopes, and then our card bases. So everything you need is in that card kit. All right, so let's say hi to everybody. So it looks like we've got Tracy, and we've got the Bling Bling Crafter and Brenda. Good morning. Sue Lynn is here from Michigan, and April, good to see you. We've got Katie and Kim. So glad you guys were able to join me today for this fun card. All right, so what you're going to need, I just found some colors that I thought went really well together. And so I pulled in those same ink pads. So I do have the large Calypso Coral, and if you don't have this, this is the same color that came in the kit in the little ink spot. So you're welcome to use your ink spots. I also have Just Jade, and it coordinates with this cardstock color. I have Pretty Peacock, again, that color. this is a in color, and it's actually going to be retiring at the beginning of May. And it's one of my favorite blues. I'm really quite sad to see it go. I use it all the time. So I just wanted to make another fun project with it before it retires. And then we're using Blushing Bride, and that matches this cardstock here. And then again, I've got all my stamps on some clear blocks, and we can go ahead and get started making this card. All right, I wanted to grab some scratch paper. So the first step is to do some tone-on-tone stamping. And so I'm going to do that with the Just Jade and the Pretty Peacock. I'll give you a close-up of the card. You can see here that the Just Jade has the pine trees, and we're doing second generation stamping on that as well to give it some depth. Now, if you don't have Just Jade cardstock, you could, or ink, you could change this to another color. So if you are a subscriber of mine and don't have Just Jade, then pick another green. I think it will probably be fine to stamp a different color green here on the Just Jade as well. It might just be a little darker of a color. So you're just going to ink that up. You got the pine tree image all inked up, and then we're just stamping this all across our cardstock. Now, when you do second generation stamping, you don't want to use the stamp if you haven't stamped a full image. Do you see how that ink is still heavy on one side? And so you don't, if you stamp that again, you're going to get heavy ink and it won't look good. So go ahead and just ink it up again. This time we're going to stamp a full image just next to the last one. And then here we can actually, oh, I've got a little bit at the bottom there. So I just stamped off the bottom a little bit. And then I'm just going to slide it over and stamp between those two trees just slightly. And I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's a very slight shadow behind those trees. And then we'll just keep repeating this all the way across our card. So the cardstock here is 2 inches by 4¼ inches. And so it's just a little short. And so you'll see here that the trunks of my trees are not actually stamping. And so when I lift it up, I do have that ink. And so I'm just kind of pushing that ink off on one, like at an angle. So only the bottom of the tree is stamping there. And then I can go ahead and do another stamp. And then we'll do one here as well. And then ink that up. So now what we're going to do is just stamp it off, and then we can stamp it on. And we'll do that one more time to get some on this side too. Okay. So that's really a fun little shadow forest look for the background. So next we're going to grab the Pretty Peacock. Looks like we have a couple more people joining us. We've hi Grace. And then Kim is asking what sequins these are. These are in the main annual catalog, and they are the Artistry Bloom sequins, and they come in 4 different colors. I can't remember the colors. Let me grab my catalog. So the colors of the Artistry Blooms. What I love about those sequins is that they just have so many different colors they could work with. So they're right here on page 158. They're $7 and you get 50 of 4 colors. The colors are Calypso Coral, Coastal Cabana, Mango Melody, and Rich Razzleberry. So they really don't like go with the project, but when the sequins hit light, you get so many different colors there that I think they're just a really fun accent to add to this card. So even though the colors aren't like an exact match, I think it's just a really fun embellishment. Oh, hi, Catherine. So glad to see you today. So now I've got the flower image and my pretty Peacock ink, and I'm just going to stamp this across the pretty Peacock cardstock, and I'm going to vary the height. So the first one I did it to the top of those two tall, what are they, like weeds? And then the second one, I did it to the top of the large flower. And then the third one, I'm going to actually go to the bottom so that I'm getting a different variety of shapes all the way across. So you can see here that that one flower moves up and down. And you can do that, you know, it doesn't have to be exactly how I do it. Okay. But just so you get a full sheet of images across your cardstock. Okay. So that is step number 2. This card is really quick and easy to put together. So the next thing, oh, and this is 1 inch by 4 1/4 inches. So then we've got another piece that's 2 inches by 4 1/4, and this is going to be our banner. So I'm just going to slide this into my triple banner punch. If you don't have this, then you can just use a pair of paper snips and cut that banner shape from the bottom. And I'm now going to stamp this in Calypso Coral, and we're going to do a couple of the greetings. So I'm using the all the best for a happy, healthy, and prosperous year. You can see my block is super messy. So I'm going to make sure that I don't rock it because I don't want to get any of that ink that's on my block. So what I've done is I've using the grid paper to line up, and then I'm going to find a line on my grid paper a little bit low near this point, and I'm going to use that to line up my text just so it goes straight across my card stock. So you got something that looks like that. Might be a little low. That's okay though. And then we're going to, let me show you the card. So then we're going to have a space here for our greeting. So I'm just going to go ahead and place my strip that I'm going to stamp my greeting on right above it. So I can kind of get an eyeball of where I want everything to be. You know, that is pretty low. I'm just going to flip this cardstock over. Let's do it again. So I'm going to actually use this as a guide because I want about a 1/2 inch, I think. All right, so let's try again. So let's ink that up, line it up, and stamp it. Don't rock it. And then you can place this on top again, line everything up. Place that on top. Make sure it's nice and straight. Use your grid paper to make sure everything's straight and won't move on you. And then you're going to actually need to clean your flower image. So I love the Simply Shammy for that. It's just a really quick and easy way to clean your stamps. And then that's also in Calypso Coral. So just ink that up. And then you're going to hover that in the center over that white strip and stamp. Okay. So that's better placement. So you'll see here that that just was really low and everything would be lower. And so this kind of just gives us about a 1/2 inch at the top and a little more than that at the bottom. So no problem. You can always restamp on the back of your cardstock. The last thing I wanted to use was the happy birthday. You could use any of the greetings that come in the kit. So I'm just stamping that on my strip. And then I'll take either a pair of scissors or my paper trimmer and just trim off one side. So in the kit, I've given you just one long strip like this one. And that's just so that you have a little more options, so you're not stuck to one size in length, and you can use any of the greetings. And if by chance you need to restamp it, you have that option as well. Okay, so all our stamping's done. So let's put the card together really quickly. If you have an embossing folder, you could emboss this white cards, or this is the basic white cardstock, just to give it a little more texture. That would be fun. And then I also have a card base. And this is just basic white cardstock as well. I usually like to use the thick cardstock, but I had so many pieces in the kit that I decided to just use the regular basic white cardstock for this. So you're just going to add your mat. So remember, if you wanted to emboss it, go ahead and emboss it now before adding it to your card base. And there's some really fun embossing folders you could use. There's even one that has pine trees that would be really pretty here as well. Okay, so add the mat. And then you're going to add the pine trees. And you're looking for, I think it's 3/4 of an inch all the way around, if I remember correctly. So just kind of eyeball it so that the left, right, and top are all about the same distance around that piece. Okay, so you have a little heavier here on the bottom, but these three sides here are about the same. We've got a couple people who's saying they love the card. Thank you so much. It is, so that's one of my goals with my cards that I make with for my Paper Pumpkin subscribers, is that they are easy for new stampers, and they maybe will teach 1 or 2 fun stamping techniques. But then if you wanted to step it up using embossing folders or things like that, you could do that as well. All right, so what I did is I just tore off the bottom, and that just gives it a fun, kind of more rough outdoors feeling. So I thought that was a fun look there. We're just going to add this to our card with some adhesive, and it looks like it might be just slightly smaller than my first piece of cardstock. You can see here there's a little overlap. So I just evened it out on both sides. Those things happen, right? When we're crafting, we're not perfect. And then this you can pop up with dimensionals if you want, or you can just put it right down on your card with adhesive. And that just goes in the center. So let's see, our card base is 5.5 inches. So that would give us 2 3/4 on each side. So then you can use your grid paper to find the center, or at least close to the center there. Oops, and it twisted it there. So just place that on your card. And then just bringing in our original card, you can see here that the middle greeting is popped up with dimensionals. So if you still have some and you need to cut them down so that they fit inside, you can always trim your large dimensionals in half. Or you can use the minis if you have some of those. And then I'll just show you a little trick with the ribbon. So I am putting this down first, just kind of centering that in that space above the greeting and below the flowers. And then we're going to take our ribbon. So here is this pack. And in the kit, I've given you 20 inches of ribbon. So that's enough to do 2. So you'll need to just cut it in half. So find the ends, bring them together, and then find the middle and trim it. So there's your 2 pieces for your 2 cards. and then find the center, and you're just going to tie a bow. So find center, move a little off to the side, and make your first loop, and then you can make your second loop around, and then make it nice and tight. So then fuss with it just a little bit until you get the size that you want. And then you can see how it just slides really nicely under that corner. So it's not going really far under, and so we don't need to add it to the greeting before we add it to the greeting to our card. So it can be one of those last steps. So to get it to adhere, you just need a glue dot and take a pick tool. So you're just going to lift up a glue dot with your take a pick tool. I like to use the pointy end for this. Well, that's the one that's attached. And then you're going to slide that glue dot underneath that corner. So now I've got a glue dot there. And then you're just going to take the pointy end and take off the paper. And the glue dot's still there. And then you can just slide your bow on top of the glue dot and press down. Just like that. Sorry, just want to fuss with it just a little bit to make sure that bow lays nicely. Okay, and then just do some trimming. So if your ends are a little long, just kind of trim them so they're just barely outside your loop, like that. So cute. And then very last, you're going to add the sequins. And I think these are the rich raspberry color. Everyone's kits will have just something a little different, but you should have enough. You will have 6 rhinestones or sequins, and you can use any of the sizes. So here I've used 1 large and 2 small, and then on this one I'm going to use 2 large. We'll just put them in some different places, and then 1 small. All right, so that card's done. What do you guys think? Quick, easy, simple card using just the stamp set from the March 2021 Paper Pumpkin Kit. So again, if you're interested in signing up to get your own Paper Pumpkin Kit, make sure to use the link in the description box below. And I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.